I'm gonna try to replace this camera in this 2015 Chevy Cruze because I just cannot get that thing to be not blurry. So what you do is you remove all the little plastic tabs. The way that I do it is I separate the top part with a screwdriver. I just kind of lift it up a little bit just to pry it up just a tiny bit with a screwdriver, flat screwdriver. And then I use this to pop the first top part off, and then I pop the other part off, and then I lay them in the car just to be right in the same order that they are, because I like to make sure that everything goes in the same place. So there's one here, here, here. So there's 3 there towards the window. And there's 3 on each side. Here, 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 here. And then there's one here, one here. And then there's one in the center that you might not notice. So you gotta make sure you get that one too. The next step is to take off this little pull handle, you know, in case you're inside the car and you want to close the trunk from the inside. So I'm just using a, let's see, what size is this? I can't see. It is a 932. And just take that off real quick. Not too difficult. Okay, I admit it's hard to do things with just one hand. And there's this other piece here. It's probably gonna have to come off also. I don't know, we'll see. This is in case you're stuck in the trunk and you can't get out. This will need to be pushed back inside here so that I can get it off. Like that. Just kind of shoved it in there. And then I think we can just start pulling this off. Yeah, see, I need to take this thing off somehow. The rest of it looks like it's gonna come off. So there's just this, which I might just try using this little Harbor Freight tool again to see if I can just pry it off. And I'm gonna have to try prying it with 2 hands, because I don't know if I can do this with. Oh, I guess I can. It popped right off. Okay, that was the only thing holding it. So, next thing is, boy, I'm gonna have to get some light in here. Here's the harness that's going to the camera. The one I have actually looks different than this. So I'm going to, I forgot to bring it down, so I'm gonna have to go grab the camera and I'll show you the difference. So the camera looks to be the exact same camera, except this part, this plug-in, is completely different than what I have in the car. That should be okay because I see that I can just unplug it from the back here. So I should be able to use the existing wiring harness with this camera. So I'm gonna see if I can get to that camera and let's see what we can do. All right, so the next step is to get this piece off where the camera is. So I need to take this off, and to do that, I got a little headlamp this time because it's hard to see this dark color. There's 4 screws here, 1, and then 1 up in here, which I can't focus on. And then, so there's 4, 2 on each end. I'm doing a really bad job on this camera here. So there's 1 right there as well, and this thing won't focus. But they all look like they're 10mm, so I'm gonna take those off without the camera. So I was wrong, the wiring harness actually stays inside this little chrome bracket, and it's actually right here, so this is the same wiring harness. So I can just unplug it right from here, and then here is the camera right here. So I just need to pull this camera off, put this new one on, and then I'm good to go. Excited. My son will be able to see behind him without seeing fog. Not that it never fogs in Oregon. One thing to note is there's a tab here and a tab here. So if you just kind of push those in as you push the camera through the outside of the bezel, then you can get that out. And on this side, it looks like the orientation is going to be actually this way. And the reason is there's a little tab here on the far left, and then there's a tab up here. And so you need to unclip those on this old one to get it out of there. So I struggled trying to get that thing undone, but I found that you could just unplug it from the back of the camera, which is so much easier. And then you don't have to worry about rerouting all the wiring or anything. You just pop it back in, stick it back in, and it should be good to go. We'll see. So that was much quicker. So all I do is line up these 4 studs and then put on my 4 nuts again, which is probably gonna be harder to put on than take off, but just have to put this back on, which maybe I'll clean this first, and then we'll button everything up and we'll try it out. So I laid the nuts out as well, and probably the simplest tool is just to get a 10 millimeter on the end of a socketed screwdriver head. I don't know what these are called. And then just screw them back in this way, because you have a pretty good angle for all 4 of them. And there is little slots in the trunk to do this. Nice and big and good visibility. I just have one more, and then we'll put this underlid back on. Okay, so now I'm gonna put this underlid cover back on. The best way to line it up on those first, and then to really make sure that you get this trunk thing pulled through before you get too far. And it just goes into this little slot here. So you have to line it up, and then go on the other side, glows in the dark, which is super nice. And you can pull it through. And then there's a little hole for this little tab here to go into. Hopefully it never needs to be used, but it's best to have it available. Let's see. And then I need to line up that. And I need to put that cap back on. It does have a direction. It needs to lean the same direction. It looks like it just has these 2 little tabs here to hold it in place. There we go. Now I'll just put on all of these. Maybe we'll start in the center, since that'll kind of hold everything up. And then, and I have all laid out in the trunk here in the right spots, so I'll just start popping those in. And what you do is you keep them pulled out like this. Get this main area in first, and then you can push with your thumb to get this end, and that will expand this to hold everything in place. So I'm glad I kept all these tabs in the right order, because some of them have little washers and some of them don't, and there's a pattern to it, and I really didn't have to memorize that. So this thing, I like to just start one screw and then put the other screw in. That way I can see, I can watch myself guide into that hole there to make sure that I'm not cross-threading or anything. But that would be the last thing you put on, is a little handle to close the lid from the inside. Okay, so it's all buttoned up. This handle does go this direction, so you can pull it from this way. The emergency release is there. Everything's in. So the only tools I used was a 10 millimeter for the bezel in the back, which has your driver's license, or not your driver's license, but your car license plate lights and the camera, and then also a 9/32 for putting on this handle. The only other tools I used was this handy little plastic tool from Harbor Freight, and it's just a flat screwdriver, just to kind of get the first part started. can see there's little tabs here. You can kind of wiggle it out a little bit, and then you can get this fat plastic thing in, and it takes it off straight without bending things up. So it's really good. Let's try it out and see if it works. Now that I think it's done hailing. Let's see. Oops, I don't know what that was. All right, let's start it. Let's put it in reverse and see what happens. I don't know if this will turn out very well on here or not, but we'll give it a go.
Sirius XM presents a new show.
Radio, we're on radio. Let's go in reverse and see what happens. Oh my gosh, it's so much clearer. You can't really tell through this camera, but in real life, I can see the little camera, or and the tools, and I just don't know how to get it to look good on here, but it looks crystal clear again. Oh, yes, so much better. Anyway, thanks. I hope this helped out. Bye.